Your gesture sucks? Or you struggle really hard to accomplish them? Well, in today's video we are gonna talk about my gestures and poses exercises. And trust me, after this video you will be much more confident to draw them. Alright, let's start with some gesture exercises. And for that I'm using the site called Pose Maniacs. As you can see, there is literally every pose, and you get even a 3D mode where you can get really every angle. First of all, let's start with analyzing the reference. Like, it's not really analyzing, it's more like getting the anchor points, so the whole sketching stage will be a lot easier to accomplish for us. And with anchor points I mean, for example, the knees, the shoulders or the hands. And that always helped me, especially when I noticed, alright, there is something off but I don't really know what is actually off. I like to connect these points with a straight line. It will help us even more because you see, for example, the different heights, for example with the knees or with the shoulders. And the important thing to say is that the length from the head to the hip is the same length as from the hip to the foot. So now we know some theoretical stuff about gestures and poses. But now let's start drawing. I would say let's start with some more basic gestures and then let's shift to more complicated ones. So here we got a kind of dancing looking reference, and as we said, the first thing we're gonna do is to get our anchor points. When I started learning gestures, I always like to do this line that goes from the head right to the feet. And as we can see in this example, the body is standing more straight, like this. Last but not least, I am adding the anchor points for the hip, finally the knees, and here we can see that the one knee is slightly higher than the other knee, and that will help us to get our drawing even more believable or more accurate. Alright, so I always start with the head because it's for me like the base of the whole body. And from that point we can build down to the other body parts. After I drew the head, I draw the exact same line like in the reference that goes from the head to the feet. Now I'm adding the line for the shoulders, and I draw the circles for the shoulder slash, you know, where the arm will be. Then I'm adding the anchor points of the hip. So basically in our first step we just literally adding the anchor points to our sketch from the reference. When we're done with that, I do this kind of circular shapes. They will help us to get the belly and the chest right. Now I'm just connecting the lines, and don't worry, we get to the details later. For the upper leg, I don't know if it's called like this, but you know what I mean. I am always doing this kind of shape, and for the other leg parts I am using more triangular shapes. More triangular shapes. And as you can see, I am drawing the circles right on the knee so we can orient on the reference anchor points. After we are roughly done with the legs, let's focus on the arms. For that I like to do firstly a kind of stick figure. Then I am adding the real shapes for the arms. For that I am simply using oval shapes. And for the hand, just a triangular shape. When we're done with all that, our character should look pretty believable and the proportion should be right. Like as I said, head to hip equals hip to feet. If, for example, a arm is kinda off, don't worry, just liquefy that. Now at the final stage, I am just adding some more details, but I don't add too many because, you know, you're gonna color it anyways. And we are pretty much done with our first gesture. Alright, here we got the second reference. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. Starting with getting the anchor points on the reference. In this example, we see that the shoulder aren't even, like in the first reference. But don't worry, nothing on the technique will change. So let's start again with the head. Then the line from the head to the feet. Then again we are adding our anchor points from our reference. And as we said, the shoulders aren't even, but we simply just connect our anchor points. After that we draw the hip. Then again we are doing this kind of circular shapes for our chest and belly. Then the legs, exactly like in the last example. Finally the arms, and again the same technique. First some brush strokes, then the full arm. Of course you can start instantly with the full arm if you feel confident enough. But as I said, for the straight beginners, I highly recommend you that. Now let's do some details. And as you can see, I'm just erasing the help lines and adding some small details. So the sketch looks nice and clean. Now we are going to the kind of harder study, and for that I choose this kind of attacking pose. I can tell you already, nothing will change on our technique, but I want to draw some more challenging gestures so you have nice examples. As always, analyzing the reference, and again starting with the head, then drawing the line for the whole body, adding the anchor points. Now we're gonna add the circular shapes for the chest and body, last but not least the legs, and finally the arms. So as you can see, it wasn't that dramatic. It's really just this one technique. I would say let's do a final one, and then we're gonna shift to actually some exercises that you can do literally every day. For the final example, I choose this relaxed reference. And here you can see that the reference is not standing. But again, don't worry and trust the technique. And again, drawing the head, then do the line, adding the anchor points, drawing the chest and belly, then we go to the legs, and finally the arms once again. And now we just need to make the sketch clean, or you can do just your line art on a separate layer, and then you got also a very clean look. And now that we know how to draw them gestures, we obviously need some exercises to actually train them. For that I'm using a technique that I actually learned from Sanders Arts. And the exercise goes like this. You have your gesture reference and your goal is to draw your sketch under 30 seconds. And we do this because then we are under pressure. We just draw what we literally see. And you don't really got even time to think about any brushstrokes or something. And the biggest benefit with this exercise is that is so quick. I mean, you can do literally 10 sketches under 5 minutes, and that's just crazy. Like, let's be honest. So what are you waiting for? Get your tablet and start drawing. So that was it for today, guys, and as always, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope I could help any one of you. And yeah, leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I would highly appreciate if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I highly appreciate you guys. Peace out.